Season 4 of Chefs, Deliciousness, and Cocktails starts right now. Woo!
So we're going to get into you now. So Markus, say your last name, please.
Kypreos.
Kypreos.
That's right.
The first name was spelled different, unusual one the first time I saw it. I thought it was wrong, so I went back and looked. I had to do some research because I can't spell for anything.
Yeah, it's not John Smith.
Yeah, no, it's not. So the last name, what nationality is your last name?
I'm Greek. Yeah.
Greek, okay.
Yeah, that's right.
And so has your family been here a long time in Fort Worth?
It's my my grandparents immigrated, and but both my parents met at the University of Texas in Austin, and then they moved here for work, and so I've been here since the 70s.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's great. So Markus is with Blackland Distillery, and we're gonna talk about that a little later on, but right now we're gonna get into everything else. So you said you were here since 1970.
Yeah, I was born in 1977, actually in Dallas, and then I moved to Fort Worth when I was 1.
Boy, little youngster.
Sure. Sure.
Oh, that's funny, little youngster. Okay, so 77, and then you grew up here in the Metroplex.
Yeah, went to high school in Fort Worth.
You've seen some changes, haven't you?
Oh, quite a bit, especially in the area that we are now, down 7th Street. But
oh gosh, don't even talk about that.
Montgomery Plaza. But it's just amazing to me, the continued growth. It's just not stopping, right?
Non-stop.
Right.
It's like they have their foot on the gas and nobody's taking it off.
Right. Which I'm not necessarily complaining about right now when we're in the business of alcohol and distribution and selling alcohol.
Yeah.
So.
Would you not? I told my dad a long time ago. When because I've seen 7th Street change twice now.
Right.
And when it went down in the 80s and it became just a ghost town, except when Fred's was there. The Fred's been there forever.
Right.
But when it was a ghost town, I told my dad, can you imagine we would drive from there to downtown to the offices. We had restaurant offices downtown. And then back to West Fort Worth. There was nothing. I said, how many times you passed buildings that were for sale for nothing? And you wish you would have bought that dirt, man.
Now you see the buildings that are all over $1 million.
Oh,
it's just, how is this possible?
And some have already been sold 3 or 4 or 5 times.
Correct.
Oh my gosh.
Yes.
Okay, so you went to high school where?
I went to a private school called Trinity Valley.
Oh, I went to Country Day.
Oh, you did?
But guess what? They kicked me out.
So you're probably not a fan anymore.
No, I'm a big fan.
Oh, okay.
My whole family went there.
Okay.
I have 5 brothers and sisters that all went to Country Day.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, my kids go to Trinity Valley.
Oh, great.
Yeah. So
my cousin Pooh went there. She's a doctor now.
Okay.
So,
yeah. Well, that's where the doctors go, right?
Yeah. That's funny. That's funny. Yeah. Yeah. She moved to. She got her degree and has big practice in Albuquerque, New Mexico now.
Okay. Great.
Yeah. That's funny you said that. I got. I had really red hair back then.
Okay.
And I got red hair now, but it was red. It was more red back then. Now it's more strawberry blonde. But people make fun of you. Back then there weren't a lot of redheads. There weren't, especially one's named Trey. Trey was a very unusual name.
Sure.
That many years ago, 5 decades ago.
Yeah.
And they might have been picking on me a little bit here and there. And not that I couldn't take it. I just got one day I had a little too much. And they were hot tire on a roof or something. And I remember I got some hot tire and was taking the kids hot tire on the kids, and it just didn't go over real well.
And that was it.
That was it.
That was it. Wow.
Yeah.
You're probably better for it.
Yeah, I'm better for it. Yeah, boy. When I got home, I wasn't good for it.
That's right.
So you went to Trinity Valley. Then where'd you go to school? Lubbock?
No, I went to the University of Texas.
University of Texas. Okay.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So, but both my parents had gone there, so that was sort of that's
given.
where I was going.
Now, the interesting thing about you, but it's funny you're in this business now, but you went to school. You studied law. Correct.
Yeah, and then I went to Pepperdine for law
Pepperdine.
school. Yes.
Oh, in L.A.
Yeah, I lived in Malibu for 3 years.
I lived in Laguna Beach for 4 years.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's much different out there.
Oh, my girl. Anytime someone says California, my girlfriend goes, "Don't tell them you live there." It's all you talk about. It's just experience, know.
Yes.
I lived in Laguna Beach. I lived in Laguna Niguel for a year, and then I lived in San Francisco and Marin County for 2 years.
Wow.
Yeah. I was back and forth, so it was a neat deal.
I enjoyed my time there.
Is it not? I'm a Texan by heart and
Me
love
too.
Texas.
Me too.
It's in my bones and my blood. But I also lived in Colorado for 3 years. We had a ranch in Colorado. I lived in Kansas for a little bit. I enjoy the culture of different people, restaurants, food, socializing, wine, alcohol, all that beer. So I enjoyed the experiences a lot.
Me too. I love LA. I love going back to visit as well.
Yeah, it's a different world, isn't it?
It is.
It's literally it's like a different country. It's totally different.
Well, and I could never live there again for a number of reasons. The traffic being the number one reason, but again, like you say, the food is excellent. It's LA, whether we like to admit it or not, is just
perfect.
It's ahead of the scale in terms of pushing the boundaries, and especially in diverse food and new cultures coming in, and that's really the best part of any like major city of Chicago or New York or places, and that's why they have all the Michelin star restaurants too.
Right.
You
know, they've changed that this year. I don't know if you saw, but James Beard has changed that because they want to get more of Texas in the mix now, which is. And I've heard some chefs. I'm not going to say, but I've heard some chefs say, "Oh, it's just a political deal for them." Blah blah blah. I don't really know, but the fact that they've changed it, it's good for us.
Well, I think you want Texas chefs to receive the recognition because there are some really great chefs here, right?
Fantastic chefs here.
Yeah, and two, you can't tell me that all of the best chefs are in A, B, and C location in the country. We know that's not true, right? But it's getting the people out here and getting the judges out here to evaluate, and then getting the press and the recognition that they deserve.
Right, and you know what I've noticed, interviewing chefs and being really super involved with chefs for the last 5 years, a lot of the great chefs that are here did time in New York,
of course,
and LA, and Miami. They did their time, and they're here, and they brought that back, and their culinary experiences created what they are today.
And it's pretty easy to pick them out of the lineup in
Fort
Worth of, oh yeah, he spent some time in New York, or he spent some time, as you said. And those are the restaurants I also tend to gravitate towards.
Clay Pigeon's one of them.
Absolutely.
He spent time all over Colorado, Hawaii. He is a phenomenal chef.
One of my favorites. And a genuinely nice person as well. Nice. Because sometimes those two don't necessarily mesh.
No.
But Markus is amazing.
Listen, I've told this story 2 or 3 times in this show in the last year, but I'm going to say it again because it's just so damn funny.
Yeah.
So I was in there one night in Clay Pigeon, and I used to go to Clay Pigeon a lot, but now I've got so many restaurants because I do from Paris all the way to Abilene now, basically restaurants, from barbecue, fast food, all the way to 5 stars. So at that time, I was concentrating just on Fort Worth, and I was just getting started, but I went in there one night, and I had some TX whiskey, had a few of those, and I was sitting there talking, and Markus came out and said, "Hey, we got some winter white truffles. I want you to." I said, "Okay." He brought me a whole truffle out. Well, I was talking to people, and I wasn't really paying attention to what he was saying. I'm ADD anyway, and he said, "Put your sniffer on this." I thought he said, "Try this." I didn't look at it. It was dark. I had a few drinks of whiskey. I bit into a white truffle, about $250 bite. And you ought to read Marcus's story on it. I mean, it is hilarious. I mean, it tasted like...
Right. It's too much.
Oh, it's too much.
Yeah.
It's too much. But it was a funny story. He ran back. I could see him in that kitchen walking back and forth. They were all... Markus was looking at me. His eyes lit up. He come back and he says, "You know what you just did?" I was like, "Yeah, I know what I did now." Great stories, man.
Well, he probably handled it a lot better than some other chefs would have.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. He's a good guy, though.
Yeah.
He's a good guy. So anyway, I love Clay Pigeon. Is your stuff in Clay Pigeon?
I think so.
Benny Keith is doing that for you, right or no?
Well, yeah, they do, and it's funny. I have a pretty good relationship with Markus, and right now I go all over to all the bars and restaurants, and a lot of people go to Clay Pigeon and then come to our place, or come to our place and go to Clay Pigeon, but we're close enough that I haven't even gone over to even ask him.
Well, you don't think about it. It's like, I mean, what is it, 5 blocks from you?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, so let me get back. Some ADD kicked in again. So let's get back on track. So you went to law. You went to Pepperdine.
Yep.
You came back and you were a lawyer in Fort Worth.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, was a lawyer at a civil litigation firm in downtown Fort Worth. Trial law for 15 years.
I was just fixing to ask you. So you did trial law. People don't understand the difference between an attorney and a trial, and one that spends a lot of time in the court. People see TV and they think, "Oh, they just." That's not the way it is. The ones in a courtroom are totally different facet than the ones that are just litigating.
You're absolutely right. There's a huge difference between paper law and transactional law, and then being in the courtroom. But both of them require a lot of practice, right, to get good at either one of them. So, and I think trial lawyers are kind of dying these days because less and less cases are going to trial now.
But people want to go trial. Let me ask you a question. Don't you think with all the social media, all the TV shows, don't you think that you have to be somewhat of a good presenter and presentation person and good? I would say on screen, but to be a good trial lawyer in the courtroom, to make people look at you, pay attention.
Absolutely. I mean, you're just trying to convince 12 people that your side is right,
Yeah.
right? And so that's all about your ability to present this story and convey your arguments to them. And I feel the worst for prosecutors now when you allude to television, because it's the CSI effect where they want to see the crime on video.
All the DNA.
They want it all.
Everything.
Right? Like, and before that wasn't the case.
Yeah.
So I think it's becoming more and more difficult in that respect as well.
I hesitated a while ago. I want to say, don't you think you have to be a good actor? It wasn't actor, but I want to say on screen, because basically you're standing up in front of stage in front of 12 people. Basically, what you're doing.
Yeah, no, I think it's a big part of it.
Yeah.
I think you almost have to be a character, right?
Yeah.
And you have to connect somehow with that. And if you don't connect with those jurors, because that's really where you win and lose is at jury selection, in my opinion. Then you're done, because if they hate the attorney, it's over.
You know what you're doing? It's just like it looks like what you're doing now with this. You're selling yourself.
That's right.
And I tell people, say I'm not a good salesman. I'm gonna say, what do you do in your daily life? You sell yourself every day. You just don't realize you do it.
That's right.
You know, if you're a bartender, you're selling a drink for a better tip. You're giving them service for a better tip. I mean, there's always a way to sell yourself all day long, every day.
Yeah, and it's funny because when I first started this, I always said I'm not a good salesman. Like there are people when I go to like the liquor tastings that are professionals and that are really good, and I could practice and get better at it, sure. But the best way to sell my product, I've learned over time now, is just to be authentic and tell my story and just say why I'm doing this and what we're making, right? And then that really sells itself.
Well, what sells is your passion,
right,
for what you've done. Because here's what you did. And I don't know if I've told. We haven't had a whole lot of time to talk, but you don't sit. No one sits in my chair and talk. On my show unless they have passion for what they do, whether it be a distiller, you know, what your phenomena.
Oh, sommelier.
Sommelier. I have a hard time saying the
That's
word,
all right.
But you're not a master sommelier.
No,
you're a sommelier.
No, yes, that's
but,
right.
You know, or you're a chef, or you know, whatever you do. So it's important that people realize, and your passion shines through with what you do.
Thanks.
And how you and obviously how successful you've become. But what's amazing is you went to school and spent all this time and money to be in one career.
That's right.
And you switched up to go to a different career, which is, I mean, talk about getting the far end of the spectrum. You went from one scale to the other scale.
Yeah, that's right. Because even though I was practicing as a lawyer, I went to culinary school, and then I pursued a wine education, and then I went to a number of spirit schools. But for me, really, it's a culmination of the law and food and wine and spirits that brought me here, because I'm still thankful that I went to law school, and
it helps you with all this too.
Every day, just the bureaucracy and the red tape. I mean, the laws on the books right now date back to Prohibition. They're antiquated.
I still don't understand that.
Right.
Yeah.
And they just haven't been revised. So I don't blame the government, because they're acting under the same umbrella that they've always had. And so the permitting and the licensing, that takes a lot of time. Excuse me. But I've been able to cut through that pretty quickly. And if you think about it, we opened March 20th of this year.
Right.
We signed our distribution agreement, and we hit liquor store shelves September 20th of this year. So that was 6 months. So that was pretty fast.
Very fast.
In the world of let's open, get out there, and then penetrate the market.
And you weren't one of these big breweries or that already had all these people in place to work for you, a team of people to do all this for you.
True.
That's the big thing. So I forgot when I read your job. I forgot you went to culinary school too.
Yeah.
So you went to culinary school while you're being an attorney.
At night.
At night.
Yes.
Here in Fort Worth, obviously.
Culinary school of Fort Worth.
Okay, so you're being an attorney. You were going to culinary school. You just like school? Because I hated school.
Culinary school I didn't really view as school.
Yeah.
It was the best thing I've ever done, and I tell everyone that everyone should do it at some point in their life, whether you're going to do something with it or not. If you think about, we have 3-4 meals a day. You get a different perspective in the grocery store and what you want to do. It's just a tool that I loved having, but it was also a start for me to say and opened some doors because I'd always had a passion for food and wine to really do something with it.
So what was the most profound moment in your life to where you made the switch from culinary, from attorney to going to culinary school to saying, I want to have my own distilling company, experience company?
Well, when I was practicing, I thought there was a big decision for me to go to culinary school at night. That was the first decision,
Right.
just because I loved food. I was a foodie, right?
Right.
But to actually go in and do it and learn it, that was just sort of a creative outlet for me. But then when I started to get into wine and to go to some of these spirit schools, I looked at it and I said, all this is cooking, right? This
Right.
is, I think most people don't approach it from a culinary aspect. They approach it from, a lot of people that I've met are home brewers or home distillers, and they want to make some stuff and open a distillery. I looked at it as this is cooking, and that's all you're doing to get from the beginning to the end. And is there a culinary element here that we can do this a little bit differently and do it better? And so when I said, yeah, I think there is, I started putting a business plan together and started to really become serious about it.
Okay, you said something that struck me a while ago, which I think is totally accurate. You said it's just like cooking.
Mm-hmm.
So basically, what you're doing is you're cooking.
Right.
You're cooking ingredients to get what you want out of the put in these bottles.
That's exactly right. You start with grain,
Right.
right? And we use North Texas grain. Excuse me.
Hope I didn't choke you up.
No, not at
Hey,
all.
wait, the last show. What show was that?
It was A.Q. Pittman.
Oh, Chef A.Q. Pittman. I doubt she just won Meat Flight, by the way, this last week. Do you see that?
I didn't get to see it, but
it's awesome.
That's phenomenal.
She was choking, literally choking. They had to run and get her water. I'm like, her eyes were like, I felt so bad for her. I couldn't help her. I was sitting in my chair, and I think someone said, "Don't get up." So my mic said, "Don't get up. We'll get it." So I was like, yeah. Anyway, so
I'm good.
yeah, I'm good. So anyway, so go ahead. So go ahead where you were.
And now I've sort of lost my train of thought there.
That's what I did. We were talking about the spirits and cooking.
Oh yeah. So
Yeah.
we take the grain, and then we're putting it in a large pot of water, and we're trying to extract the starch, right? And then we cool it down, and we pitch yeast, much like making bread,
Right.
to where we begin the fermentation process. And then we distill it to separate the alcohol. And then how we finish it, depending on what we're making, again, to me is a very culinary type decision process, because if we're going to add botanicals for gin, right? What botanicals are we going to use, and how are we going to get a balanced drink? For vodka, it's how are we going to filter and clean it up and take the impurities out to produce a very clean spirit. And for the whiskey, we just need just enough flavor as we put it in the barrels, and what kind of char are we going to use on the barrels. And again, to me, these are all culinary decisions that you're making, because it's the final output is, what is it going to taste like at the end of the day? What is the flavor?
The end flavor, the flavor profile.
Flavors, right?
You're looking, just like a dish, you're looking for a flavor profile.
Absolutely, and you're looking for it to be balanced, and you're looking for 100 things,
Right.
right? But to me, again, these are all culinary decisions. These are not decisions that the home brewer or the home distiller is making. And so I think all of those decisions from start to finish has helped us at the distillery when we look at it from that chef perspective.
Okay, so let's tell everybody it's Blackland Distillery, and this you're going to see the tops of the bottles here, but it's Blackland Distillery, and we've got he does vodka, he does gin, he does rye whiskey, and a bourbon whiskey.
That's right.
Now, the Blackland Distillery is, what's the street are you on over there?
Weisenberger.
Reisenbergers. There we go. You can kind of see a little bit there. The bottles, look at the bottle right there. It's phenomenal. But the street's on Weisenberg, which is right behind
the Target in Montgomery
Right,
Plaza.
Target Montgomery Plaza. And I love, not only are you close to me, but I love, because one thing I love about your distillery is your tasting room, is I drove by there probably 10 times, okay? Didn't know what it was. It kept building. I'm always looking for new stuff, because some stuff you can't find on the internet until it's ready.
Sure.
I kept, what the hell is going on over there? And then I just deduced it to, oh, it's another, painting place, or
Sure.
or they had a a chrome plating place or something
Sure.
over there. So I was, and then I realized it was a distillery. But what you see when you walk in versus what's on the other side on the outside on the street is phenomenal. Your tasting room is gorgeous.
Thank you. And I still think it's difficult to find. And but what we tell people is when they come in, because it takes a good 15 to 30 seconds to adjust once you've walked in and kind of take it all in.
It does. Well, first of all, it's dark. You're going from light to dark.
Correct.
You've made it very cozy.
Yes.
Very chic, very cozy, but very classy.
Thank you.
And and you've got plenty of the horseshoe-shaped bar. You've got lots of seating there.
Yeah.
But what you've done is you've taken a space that's not real big, and you've sectioned it off. I don't know if we did that automatically, but the way it turned out, you've got the private booths over there. Yeah. You've got the beautiful horseshoe bar, and you've got the sitting on the other side. And you can sit at all those places and talk. Other people won't hear you on the other side. So it's a neat deal. It's a neat concept.
I appreciate it. And what we tell people when they come in and they say, oh, we had a hard time finding this place is, well, you found it now. This is your reward. Here's the gym. Here's the secret, right? Come in, have a drink, and enjoy yourself. And they do. Yeah. And it's not that I don't want to promote the tasting room, right? Because it is small, and I like the intimacy and the nature of it being a place a quiet place where you can have a drink. But more and more people are starting to figure it out and roll in, right? And which is great for business.
You only have so much space.
But I only have so much space, and I don't want to kill the atmosphere and what it is in there.
So, I don't know if you ever watched it when I'm there, but I've been there 4 or 5 times, and I always talk to everybody at that bar, everybody in there. I always ask them, hey, where are you from? And it's amazing. They're all from, a lot of them are from around there. Just some of them just a few streets away, or
sure.
It's neat. But what I was going to say was, your place reminds me of an old gangster type movie filmed in Las Vegas, Chicago, or New York, where you walk in and everybody's it's kind of a dark, but it's cozy, and people are all talking to each other, having a good time. That's kind of what your place reminds me of. It's neat because a lot of places nowadays are all open, real lighted, garage doors thrown up in the air and stuff, and so you don't get that same effect as you get from your place.
Yeah, and we wanted to create that atmosphere so that people could come in and really enjoy the cocktail because we're featuring our spirits, right? And then B, we wanted a place where people could actually talk and have a conversation, which is why we have rules that a lot of people don't like. But one of those is no cell phones.
That's right.
And
wait, hang on. Wait, I got to remember this. Because I remember the first time I went there, I said, "What the hell?" What's the bartender? He's not a bartender anymore, but
Mike.
Mike, okay. I call him a barkeep because he's more than a bartender at that time.
Yes.
But I liked him from the get-go. But I had my cowboy hat on every time I walked in there. We were the only ones in there. It was y'all just opened up whatever, and I walked in, and he looked at me, he looked at her, and he said, "I need you to read these." like I was going to bust out or something in the place. So like I was going to start twirling pistols or something, But I read them. I looked at my girlfriend. And he walked on. I was like, "What?" But I looked around. And said, this place is really cool. So I want to do it, and it works. And everybody but no one. I haven't seen anybody complain.
No, it sets the tone for what we're trying to create inside, and then what I really enjoy seeing is, without even saying anything, and someone's cell phone rings, they get up and walk outside.
Yeah.
Right. And then again, that just adds to.
Okay, here we go. This makes me mad. This pisses me off.
Okay. As
a person who is on his phone, my phone's got to be charged 3 to 4 times a day. I'm on social media 6 to 8 hours a day, every day, all the time.
Sure.
Everybody, my girlfriend gets mad at me, but I don't ever have a ringer on or any kind of vibe where you can hear it anywhere.
Sure.
I think it's wrong in today's society for somebody to go in a restaurant or a church or anything. You hear that somebody's go off. I mean, everybody in the room can hear it.
Right.
Why do you do that? Why not just put your phone on silent, leave it on silent? I don't get that.
I don't either. We really haven't had that problem, thankfully. And when I say no cell phones, we actually allow you to take photos.
Yeah. I know you do.
Right? Yeah, but it's just not. You can't have the conversation.
I know. Yeah.
Yeah.
People, I'm sure. Listen, the people, the clientele that go in your place understand. And the funny thing is, I've been there, like 5 times, and I haven't seen any craziness go on.
No.
There's a lot of craziness goes on in bars in Dallas-Fort Worth.
Yes.
It's not there. So it's fantastic.
Thanks.
So you got your rules done, and you got the rules done. I got that, and I really enjoyed it. And I saw the drink menu. Now, your cocktail menu, you do cocktails with all these drinks?
Right. So we can only serve what we make, right? As a distillery with our permit. So we have a very cocktail forward menu. We have about 12 to 15 cocktails that change frequently based on produce. And then, so we'll have 3 vodkas, 3 gins, 3 rye drinks, and 3 bourbon drinks.
Awesome. Now you've got some. You brought a little menu.
I
Can you
did.
just go through some of the ones you have for this? How often do you change it? Seasonal or is it weekly or what do you do?
I wouldn't say weekly, but let's say every 3 to 4 weeks we change it up.
Okay.
And again, it's just based on the fruit because we do all our bitters in-house, we do all our syrups in-house, and then we do all of our juices that we squeeze fresh daily.
Now, do you think that comes from your culinary background?
I think that's part of it. I just think also my philosophy is that if you're going to come in and pay $12 for a drink, then it better be an
A damn
incredible
good.
drink.
Yeah.
That's right. And so how can I make sure that's an incredible drink? Well, we make the alcohol, we make the syrups, again, we make the bitters, and we make the juices. And so I'm full transparency about in terms of what we do. I'll tell you exactly what we do. It's just going to be very hard for you to recreate that at home because of how we do it, right? The syrups we make or the simple syrups, if it's a fruit-based, takes us about 24 hours to make it. And then obviously we're making the alcohol. The bitters we're making, it'll be very difficult at home. So we'll tell you what it is, but that's what's special about our place when you come in and have a cocktail.
You know what that is, don't you? One word: passion.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
passion for what you're doing over there.
Absolutely. And
24 hours to make your stuff. Now that's all the bottles I see lined up on the. If I sit on the Horseshoe Bar, and I'm sitting on, I guess it'd be the south side. Is that the bottles I see all lined up there?
right. So we use we don't use our nice
No, you
bottles
don't.
for that we
No.
pour into
Right.
it, right? Because these are custom bottles that look nice and they're much more expensive.
Right.
But I don't reuse bottles either, so it's better to use the 750 milliliter bar stock bottle.
Sure.
But yes, but then everything else that's there, the bitters and the syrups those are all right there.
Awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, and so we offer quite a few drinks, but there's a couple that will never go off our menu. Our number one selling drink is the old fashioned.
Which we brought today, which you're and I are going to try here in a little bit.
Yes,
As a
that's
matter of
right.
fact, let me have that bottle right there.
So that's like our bar bottle, right?
That's a neat.
Yeah. And so.
Oh wow! I smell that. It was over here, and I smell it. That aroma.
That's right.
It's just like a dish. The aroma is the first thing that people notice.
That's right. And that's a special drink because we use 100 proof rye whiskey in that. And then
100 proof rye whiskey.
that's right. Our simple syrup is made from turbinado, which is raw sugar. And then it just blends better with the cocktail and the alcohol. And then we use our own aromatic and orange bitters, which we make in-house. It's a very bitters forward old fashioned. It's a strong old fashioned, and I understand why it's our number one cocktail.
I guess I could look at that clock right there, but I'm looking at time. Oh, it's time. We can have a drink. Hey Ron, I hope that whole bottle's left by the time we get through. So that's a drink that will never leave your menu.
No, it's too good, and the demand is too high for it, right?
It's smooth.
Thanks.
Demand is high because I don't want to change. I don't want to change your stuff. But right now, like if you watch Food Network Cooking Channel, or anything, they have old fashioned donuts or flavors they're doing. They have old fashioned cookies. They're all kinds of old fashioned flavors. Old fashioned. The other day I saw on the Carnival Eats because I TiVo all this stuff because I have to watch it when I'm at the office. They had old fashioned. What's the funnel cake?
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah, well, it's a good flavor and it makes sense. And
Yeah.
I think the whiskeys also go with a lot of things, whether it's chocolate or pecan or any type of flavor like that. So,
Yeah. Cool.
yeah. And, I like all our drinks, and they wouldn't be on the menu if they didn't make the cut. One thing we like to do at the bar is we let our servers try to participate and try and push them to try and create something because I want them to stay motivated.
Right.
And so,
That's a good idea.
thanks.
No, it's huge.
So one of our servers right now, Sam, has a purple bee on the menu. It's a gin, lemon, honey, lavender drink that's done really well.
Oh, that sounds good.
Yeah,
You know what? That sounds like a sexy drink.
it is.
And if you put a little on lavender, it sounds sexy.
It is, and it's really well balanced, and I'm really proud of her for coming up with that. And then I'll tell you what, we have this drink on the menu. It's called grapefruit punch, and
Grapefruit punch.
as men gravitate towards the old fashioned,
Right.
the women gravitate towards the grapefruit punch.
Really?
And it is simply vodka, grapefruit juice, lemon juice, and a grapefruit sherbet, which is a grapefruit simple syrup. And I watch it sometimes because they can drink it like water.
Oh, yeah, that's not good.
No, but it's perfect for when we do events or go to concerts or it's outside, and you just can't beat it.
I have a really, really good friend of mine, Ronnie Dempsey. He's a manager. He manages Jaguar, Volvo, and Range Rover, Autobahn. You probably met him, but his favorite thing is bourbon. He does go to bourbon bars. I need to meet him over there. I want him to try your stuff.
Absolutely, love to have him.
Yeah. You need that clientele anyway. So what else we got?
I'll tell you one of the craziest drinks on our menu that I don't personally like, but everyone else seems to, so we leave it on the menu, is something called our Dreamsicle Fizz. And
Dreamsicle Fizz.
That's right.
That sounds like a West 7th fruity drink.
Well, I think it's a little sweet, but we use Dublin vanilla cream soda. Okay, and we've tried other cream sodas, but only the Dublin is the best, hands down.
I guess the flavor profile.
Correct. And then we mix it with our bourbon, and then we add round orange ice cubes that we've made from orange juice. And so...
Wait. Oh, back up. You can't just skip over that now. Damn it. Don't act like we all know what you're talking about here. Round orange ice cubes.
Yes, we freeze fresh orange juice. And as the ice melts, right, the citrus and the acid from the orange kind of mellows out the sweetness of the cream soda, which is pretty assertive, and you're left with a very different but a very good Dreamsicle
This
Fizz.
is what I'm talking about.
Mhm.
This is phenomenal. Okay, so you where in the hell did you come up with the idea of freezing an orange cube and having it so it just gives you just enough flavor as it melts,
Correct.
as it disintegrates
That's right.
into the drink.
That's
It gets
right.
you just enough flavors for what you were looking for.
That's right.
Now, where'd you come up with that?
Well, I have to give a lot of credit to my bar manager, Jeremy, who's really phenomenal with the cocktails. But he's really put an emphasis on dilution of ice cubes and water, which is big in cocktails,
Huge.
right? Because some people
Huge.
want the big ice cube, some people don't want any of the
I'm
ice
a
cube. right?
big pure whiskey drinker. I like the one cube.
Right. So the same principle is applicable to other drinks and we do a lot of fruit ice, okay, where we take freshly squeezed fruit juice and then freeze it for the same purpose of, okay, let's slowly release it to get some of that sweetness, or in this case, some of the acid out for the drink as you enjoy it. And I think that's just, to your point, another level of cocktail making as compared to, let me go to a bar, let me get a vodka soda or what have you, right? And again, I think that's what hopefully is part of what justifies us. And I say $12. So $12 now these days has become...
No, it's not a lot. Here, and you know what? And so my girlfriend is not only my girlfriend, my best friend, and my lover, but she's also essentially my manager because she helps keep me on track because we have so many things we have to do on the weekends. You know, we actually make a list of things, places we have to go visit and stuff. It's a business for me. It's what I do.
Sure.
So I'll get to talking and socializing and wailing around, throwing my hands in the air and drinking. She'll be like, hey, you know, we got to go. We got to get this place. We got to get this place. But what she does is she watches prices everywhere because sometimes I'm real in tune to talking to the owner, the bartender, the chef, anything that has to do with the restaurant or the bar, distiller, and I don't notice anything. But like if we go to a place and the drink is like $12 and it's real weak or it's not a good drink, she'll say, this place isn't gonna make it or that's bad. And what she says is that people don't mind paying for a $12 if it's a good drink.
I agree.
You can't have a $12 drink, have a 1 ounce or a half ounce pour and fill full of water or fruit. That's not going to work.
I agree. And
So-
it's frustrating. And then not to go back to your hot topics or anything, I think the new trend, and I've seen it a lot in DFW right now, is I'm going to charge you for the drink and then I'm going to charge you the mixed beverage tax because I've got to pay it and I'm going to put it off onto you now. That's a huge deal where I've seen more and more restaurants and bars doing that now.
Yeah, I saw that too. I saw a receipt. Somebody put a receipt on. I'm on a lot of sites, and
Sure.
you know, as bar sites, stuff like that. And I saw where somebody posted on a customer had posted on a customer had been there, had posted back on the site, and they'd circled. There was like literally I think 3 different taxes or
Yes.
They were livid. They were like, man, they were livid.
Yes. I view it as it's the cost of doing business, and
Do you think the average person doesn't pay attention to that?
yes,
Yeah.
I do.
Yeah.
I pay attention to it, and I stopped buying drinks at this point.
Yeah. Well, I mean, yeah. In my business, it's what I do for a living,
Sure.
and I don't, lots of times my tickets are adjusted or they're not adjusted or whatever. But I just don't pay attention to that until she said something, and I started seeing it about 6 months ago. I started seeing it.
Yeah, I think she's right. I think that the businesses are counting on the fact that people are just going to sign the ticket and move on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, back to your drinks.
Another really popular drink, I'll just say 2 more. One, the Hemingway gin and tonic, and people say, oh, it's a gin and tonic. We do a couple of different things. Yes, it's our house gin, and yes, we use a really nice tonic water, but we also add bitters, and we add a 1/2 ounce of coconut water.
Your bitters.
Our bitters. And the coconut water in our bitters makes all the difference in the world, right?
Wait, is it your coconut oil or water? Or do you
No,
buy
we
it?
use,
Okay.
yeah, we bring in a coconut water.
I thought you were going to tell me you're back there making that too.
If we had time on that one, I probably would have made that. Now I'm probably going to go back now and say, can we make our own coconut water? My
I
staff's
can't
not gonna
believe you're
like
buying
it.
coconut water, man. I'm going to tell everybody in town you're buying coconut water.
Yeah, that was a discussion we had. I think the time that we were going to put into it was more than. There's some pretty good quality coconut water out there.
Yeah, okay.
And then finally, we have a really popular watermelon gimlet.
Well, watermelon gimlet, that's a really cool name.
Yeah, and it's nice to highlight our gin, and we freeze. We also
Here we go.
we crush the watermelon, we juice the watermelon, and we create a 2-inch watermelon ice cube. And then again, it's just an extra bit, and it's just an extra kick of watermelon along with the fresh.
Wait. Okay. You freeze a 2-inch. Are you talking about like 2 inch, like the circumference of the glass, or 2-inch deep? What are you talking about?
Yeah, like a 2-inch ice cube, right? Like the standard big ice cube you would get, like you would see at a square
Right.
in your old fashioned, right?
Right.
So we make that into watermelon ice with watermelon juice.
Watermelon ice.
That's right.
And it dissolves into the drink.
Correct. With the gin, and then a little bit of lime juice, and then we garnish it with mint.
Absolutely phenomenal.
It's a great drink.
Okay, so let's talk about the bottles, because the first time I walked in, I saw your bottles. I took about 10 pictures of your bottles on the wall, right? This before I read the story about the bottles. But I want you to tell me about the bottles, because the bottles really caught. The first time I walked in and I sat down, what I do, my family owned restaurants for decades. So I always go into a restaurant or a bar or any kind of area. So I look around at the environment. I look and see what it is, the kind of the motif it is. What are the servers doing? What are the customers doing? But the first thing that caught my eye, I didn't even hardly scan. I saw these bottles. They were absolutely beautiful. So tell everybody about your bottles.
So my bottles were designed by a woman named Una at Timmons at Dando Projects, and all she does is design alcohol bottles. That's her whole job. And in fairness, she did the labels as well. And so
Beautiful. They're very classy.
very classy. It's a custom bottle. I would think most people don't pay attention to it, but most bottles on the shelf, if you go into a liquor store, what are called stock bottles.
Right.
There, you just go and you buy it and you put a label on it and you can dress it up. But we wanted a custom bottle that stood out and that sort of was consistent with our brand and the spirit we were trying to create. And I just think she did an amazing job. And
She did.
It's the same bottle, but with different spray paint on the outside.
You know what's funny? You say most people don't pay attention to bottles, but it's funny is that I've always done that.
Sure.
And for some reason, some people, you what do they say? You can dress up a salware, but but the bottles to me that gets your first glance.
Absolutely.
Now, what's in the bottle has got to deliver,
No question.
or you won't go back. But the bottle does help sell it, in my opinion.
Oh, I agree. And it's been great for us, especially early on. And early on, it was, I love your bottles. I love your bottles. And then afterwards, it's, oh, I also love what's in your bottles, right? So far, it's all worked. But I agree that the packaging is important because it's what you see first and it's what drives your eye and gets your attention. Yeah.
Packaging is kind of like humans. You may look good on the outside, but what do you have on the inside, right?
That's right. So, yeah, we've been really happy. I mean, it was a big hurdle to start to design and secure a custom bottle and get the production of it and then get it shipped over here.
Right.
But
okay, you say shipped. Where's it from?
China.
Okay. No. Okay. Well, hang on. Where does the person that designed the bottle? Where does she live?
L.A.
Okay, that's okay. All the best designers are in LA or New York, so that's not a problem.
She used to be a supermodel, which is a funny story.
I did read that.
Yes, and I saw her on a TV commercial one night, and I thought I'd been trying too much from one of my barrels in the back. And I called her and I said, Una, did I just see you on a TV commercial? And she said, yes, I used to be a model, and I do it once a year to keep my SAG card. But then I looked her up, and she was not just a model. She was a supermodel. But this is what she does now. Yeah.
Well, but you know what though? Being a supermodel, you travel all over the world.
Oh yes.
So what she did, the passion she had being a supermodel, drove her to be able to do this because it gave her wider eyes to this industry.
If you go to her website at Dando Projects and you see the other bottles that she's done, her aesthetic is amazing, and she just has a great.
What was the website?
Dando Projects.
Dando Projects.
Yes, and they make glass bottles, mostly alcohol, but across the board. And I just think it's so worth when you're doing something like this to.
Because it facilitates your dream and passion for the product. That's why.
Well, and they were great about that and trying to understand what I was trying to do and try and help me through the bottle and the label to get there.
Sure. Okay, now let's talk about something else that I thought was just phenomenal because I know how that industry works. Let's talk about the partnership with Benny Keith real quick. Because I'm dragging you down here, and we've already got 5 minutes left.
Oh, that's okay. It's been great.
Okay, so because I'm excited for you, Benny Keith. So as soon as I saw that, I was amazed because I know how hard the food industry is, especially getting someone like that.
That was a monumental signing for us, right? Because they took a chance on us, and we somewhat took a chance on them. But they've been in the beer distribution business for the last 100+ years. And so they had Deep Ellum vodka and they had Frankly vodka, but we were their first bourbon, rye, and gin. And I think they're simply trying to diversify and see the really growing spirits market right now that is
huge.
And I liked that they were a Fort Worth company, headquartered in Fort Worth, that we're made in Fort Worth. And homegrown, quality company, and it's been it's early, but it's been a fantastic partnership for us since the
love
beginning.
Benny Keith. I love everything about it. They support the community. I've always loved those guys over there.
And not only are they professional, they have the relationships with every liquor store that's out there. And they work hard. Absolutely. And they're excited.
They work hard to build relationships, not tear them down. They don't just want money; they want a relationship, and that's what builds business.
Absolutely, it is. Yeah. And in just the short time we started, I told you September 20th we hit liquor store shelves, and now we're in over 70 liquor stores in DFW, and every day we're in more and more bars and restaurants, and it's a big part of that has been Benny Keith.
You carrying a Sharpie that people are going to start wanting your autograph for long.
I think that's happened twice. That's okay.
Are you signing bottles? Well, you really can't sign these bottles.
I've signed a few.
I guess you could put initials on the top.
I've signed on the label.
Oh, have you? That's pretty good, I guess.
Yeah.
Hold on, it's going to be worth a lot.
In the beginning.
I want to talk about Meyer and Sage too. Meyer and Sage, which is right here. Ron, can you see it? Meyer and Sage is awesome food. I swear, I don't think I've seen a more colorful presentation. Everything they have is just so colorful and so beautiful.
Well, Callie's a lot like me in that she cares about the details and she's very focused on the final product. And
I had had them on the show.
They're using high quality products. Yeah. She was actually an instructor at the culinary school before.
Okay.
But even if she wasn't, the convenience of being right behind us is one thing, but more than anything, it's the quality of the food that she puts out.
And they can get any of this in your tasting room.
Yep, in our tasting room, we do light grazing, charcuterie, hummus, warm olives, and then Myron Sage is right behind us. It's a great grab and go where you can get food and take it home and cook it.
Good. Okay, so Blackland Distillery, what's the website?
It's blacklandfw.com.
Blackland FW, and FW means Fort Worth.
That's right.
Homegrown, baby.
That's right. That's right.
That's great, though. And if they are a bar, they can get Benny Keith, right? They can get through Benny Keith.
Bars and restaurants buy through Class B, which is Specs or Goody Goody.
Okay.
Yeah. So any bar or restaurant that's interested in having us can just buy that. They get their liquor through Specs or Goody Goody. But I'll just say, if you are interested and you'd like me to come to your restaurant or bar and do a tasting, I'd be happy to meet with anybody.
There we go.
Yeah.
Happy to meet you. And what's is Markus at Blackland?
Markus at blacklanddistilling.com.
Markus blacklanddistillery.com.
Yeah.
And for us, again, y'all, thanks for everything. Thanks for y'all watching and all the support y'all giving us. I enjoyed having you here, Markus.
It's been great. I've really enjoyed it.
And I want people to come see you. That's important because you're locally and homegrown.
Thank you. And we want them to come.
I know you do. I want them to buy your product.
Absolutely. It's a great Christmas gift.
Yeah. And Monday, we've got a big secret for y'all. On Monday, we launch our television series, our television show with TCN, the TCN app. They have a new fantastic app with all kinds of shows on. It's going to be, we're excited to death.
Congratulations.
You're going to be on there.
Congratulations. That's huge.
Thank you. Yeah.
Yeah.
And as always, we'll be here next week. TreyChapman.com. If you're looking for our website, TreyChapman.com. That's Trey with an E, not an A. And we released our Best Bloody Mary in DFW article. Did you see it?
I did not.
I spent a long time doing it.
Who won?
The Rim down in Burleson. Keith Button,
Really?
Chef Hicks.
Yeah, I know that.
He moved down here. Yeah.
Okay.
You got to see it. It's got fried chicken and everything on it. Anyway, we'll see y'all next week. See you next week. TreyChapman.com. Adios.
I'm Trey Chapman, publisher of Trey'sChowdown.com. I'm passionate about finding the best food, drinks, and chefs, to sharing it all with you. I should know I have over 5 decades of food experience. Find me on any podcast platform, Facebook Live, or just Google me. Now you can watch and listen to all my great finds every week on my live TV and radio podcast at Trey's Chowdown Live.